Welcome to Film Study, an All American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi, and today I got Jen back on the pod, our resident single. Maybe there's one or two others, but our primary Coop Troop member, Jen, and we're going to be talking about Coop and her character journey, breaking down her character. And we've been trying to do this for a while, so I'm actually excited for this conversation. Jen, you ready?
Yep.
So you already know where I'm gonna start. You already know where I'm gonna start. When and why did you uh did you become a Coop fan? Because you were not always a Coop fan.
um, Beginning in the break of season 3 and season 4, that's when I became a Tamia fan. And the why is just because Tamia is the best girl on the show. Like she's
Are
loyal.
you
She,
insane?
she's, she's a protector. She is like on the whole show. She is the best friend to everyone. And I,
Interesting thought process.
yeah, sometimes I just I debate between her and Liv, but as of for today, and because of season 4, I'm gonna say Tamia is the better friend. And yeah, she's an awesome person. Like I'm actually shocked it took me so long to become a Tamia fan, and I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how I wasn't a Tamia fan because like end of season 3, I was part of the people who wanted her dead, but like looking back, I'm like that was that was very unfortunate thinking.
I it is interesting because I was like one of the people that was just like, why y'all trying to kill off Coop? Why y'all trying to kill off Coop? And I'm not even a Coop fan like that. As I've said before on this podcast, I like Coop for who she is as a friend to Spencer on the majority of occasions, the majority,
Okay.
um, and like parts of Coop and Patience's relationship, um, but overall, overall, I'm not her biggest fan. I think I've made that clear. But I do like the path that she's on right now. I have been impressed with her lately within the last couple of episodes for sure, for sure. So let's get
Absolutely.
into that. Let's get into
Mm-hmm.
that.
Okay.
Season one, we meet Coop and Spencer is sort of, and to address some of your claims, yes, claims.
Okay.
Coop's a protector. Spencer, when we first meet Coop, Spencer is protecting Coop from being bullied. You know, people talk to her sideways because she's sort of like non-gender conforming in the way that she dresses. I don't think she was like out at this time, but Spencer protects her, and their whole story or her whole storyline in season one was about her best friend, really her brother, her family, Spencer moving away, him and her encouraging him to move away to Beverly to go chase after his dreams and get out the hood. But as he leaves and as he's splitting his time between Beverly and Crenshaw, she's still there, and so they also have this other childhood friend, Sean, whom I love. But um, Sean, and so she becomes sort of closer to Sean, who's connected to gangs, and she gets into trouble a bit. Um, and in her words, Sean has been at her since Spencer left, which is not
Wow.
the case because I'm sure she was going to him quite a few
Okay.
times. But
Mm-hmm.
she develops this friendship with Sean, or they rekindle their friendship because they're childhood friends. So she rekindles her friendship with Sean and joins his crew. Not doesn't join the gang as of yet, but joins his crew. Gets closer
Yeah.
to him, and he gives her a job and things like that. So, what did you think through her friendship with Sean, which ultimately she tried to help him out on a deal? It went sideways. He missed the deal, and so Tyrone, as we know, shot Sean, killed Sean. And so
Yeah.
as he was trying to get out of the gang, and she was trying to help him, that whole thing went sideways. So what do you think up until she like Sean's death? How did you view Coop from that?
Okay, so as I was saying in the beginning, okay, the first we have Coop Tamia. We have Tamia to thank because she was ultimately the one who convinced Spencer to go to Beverly. Because in the beginning, you can see he's really wrestling with that, and she was like a proper sounding board for him. And especially like episode
One of
one, you
her
can see,
highlights, I agree. One of her highlights is with
yeah,
Spencer.
exactly. Like she was a really good friend to him, helped him see and
Really good
while
friend?
he
I don't know. She's their family. I will say that. Yes.
oh my word. Okay. Her friends are family, but they also like she was like the best of friends to Spencer in season one, and ultimately, like even with his struggles, even with the whole like Crenshaw and Beverly thing, and she helped him see a lot of things that he was doing wrong as in approaching his relationships in Beverly and all those things. So like she was ultimately his guidance in that first half of season one. And then with
For sure.
Sean, yeah, well, so with Sean, we see, with Sean, she kind of recognizes like because with Spencer, I think she sees Spencer as someone with this like great potential, like, and she always understood that some at a certain time their friendship would result in Spencer leaving Crenshaw and leaving her behind and going and pursuing greater things. But I think with Sean, I think they could both identify with the fact that they might ultimately both stay in the same place, you know. And but I think she wanted something better for Sean in the sense of like she wanted Sean out of the gang, and at the end you see that if Sean had followed Tamia's plan, he would probably be alive, and she was that and she was that ultimate like influence for Sean to be like, okay, I think I can leave the gang. I think I can go straight. And if it wasn't for Tamia, I don't think Sean would have believed that about himself. And yeah, Karen.
I agree. With the in the sense that Coop was a very strong positive influence on Sean's life.
Mm,
And really like one of her again one of her highlights and high points. I love Coop season 1, but one of her highlights for me is the fact that she fought so hard for Sean, even when
yeah,
people like Spencer were just like, no,
yeah,
he's and so I love that. I love that for her. And I think you're absolutely right in that she identified that, like, and recognized that Spencer was called to greatness. I literally think she said that in the first episode. But with Sean, she felt like a kinship. Like, and don't get me wrong, she's definitely Spencer's peer. But as far as like talent, I don't know if she recognized in herself the amount of
yeah,
talent that she had. So she very much felt uh, like she had to stay put and that she didn't have enough enough talent really to leave Crenshaw
yeah,
or to
yeah.
make a better life for herself.
Exactly. Yeah. She never. I don't think she ever felt like Spencer's equal in terms of opportunity, to
Right,
succeed.
right. But
Yeah.
I do not think I do not think that
and
had Sean followed Coop's plan to a T, that he would still be alive. I think that
Lexi, Lexi,
no,
let's
no,
be
no.
honest here.
Hold on.
Uh,
Could I about to explain? I'm about to explain.
okay.
Here's the thing. Sean and Coop, to that point about being peer, I still think that Sean and Coop learned from each other. There wasn't like um one person dominating that relationship. I don't think I would say, because I think that Sean genuinely surprised Coop and why she ended up helping him in the first place and trying to be this positive influence on his life, which, as we know, it like his family was in the gang. So it wasn't like he was just like choosing to do this thing. It was really like his environment pushed him to this place. But deep down, he had already, it wasn't that Coop like made him have a good heart. Like he already had a good heart, and you could see that in the people that he was taking care of. You could see that in the fact that he didn't really want Coop to be a part of the gangs. He didn't want gangs. He didn't want Spencer to be a part of gangs. He was really protecting them. He got Coop a job cutting hair. Like, so these, yes, he was in the gang and he was in that life, and by no means was he a spotless character, but he already had these traits in him, and Coop pushed those traits like to the surface in like um in trying to help him get out. And this is what I'll say, I think that they worked the best when they work together. And here's why I say that I don't know if he had followed Coop's plan to a T, because it was Coop's plan in the first place to go handle, in her words, when Sean was going to leave, to go handle this drop or whatever that was supposed to happen, that even got him on Tyrone's radar in the first place. So because she didn't let him handle that and have faith that like he could do both and juggle both, for that reason,
Oh
the first
my
person,
word!
for that reason, I'm out on the idea that if he had followed her plan to a T, because Coop is great, but I'm not going to say her plans were 100% foolproof. Did she have her point and did she push him out of the gangs? Absolutely. But I don't think it, I think it was that they had to work together, and Coop tried to make it seem like she could handle it on her own. And then he tried to handle it on his own as well. And that's what got him shot. So that's my thoughts on that. But moving along, moving
No,
along.
no, no. You can't just lie like that and they say you belong.
Lie? What are you talking about?
You,
Lie?
no, because like I think it wasn't the fact that she didn't think that Sean could handle it. Wasn't it because like Sean was literally at his other job and couldn't leave, and then he asked Tamia to go and to go to the drop, and then she was running late, and that's what got him on Tyrone's radar. But when I'm saying Tamia's plan, I'm meaning the plan that she had like with Miss Baker and to like sort of take Tyrone down rather, and then Sean chose not to follow that one and go
But
give
that's very I feel like that's almost sugarcoating the issue. And don't worry, audience, we're friends, we know each other. I feel like it's sugarcoating the situation, because not too long ago Coop didn't trust Laura, and so they don't. Crenshaw is so connected, and so none. And we've even explored this most recently. Laura has had it had issues in the beginning to connecting with people. From Crenshaw, because it's not like you don't just trust every single thing that comes your way, definitely not people that are connected to the cops. And so that, like, it wasn't as black and white of a situation or a plan, um that I think that you're suggesting that if he had just followed this, he wouldn't have been shot. Let's say he followed it and Tyrone was upset that he got Laura involved, which he it ultimately was, right, in season two, and Sean still would have gotten shot. So I maintain, even though you're saying it's a lie, I maintain that they worked together and it wasn't a my plan or yours. But had they worked together, uh, he wouldn't have been shot. And had she given him time instead of pressing things, and that's what I'm saying, had she given him time to figure out a balance, and figure out it, uh I don't think that he would be dead today. So anyway, those are my thoughts on the matter.
Okay.
But we gotta
I
move on. We gotta
respectfully
move
disagree, but we can
on. Okay,
move on.
that's
Mhm.
that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. It's my opinion. It's my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
That's with you. Um, the other thing that Coop was sort of dealing with in the first part of season one is um, coming to terms with the fact, not that she's gay, but like admitting that out loud to people and letting
Mm.
that be a known thing beyond just herself. And so, um, new patients from church will have a whole separate conversation on their relationship, but really like being being comfortable enough in herself to tell her mom and tell her parents, her dad, who comes back for like 2 seconds, that she is
Of
gay. But when
course.
she finally gets that courage to do it. Her mom kicks her out. She has to move in with the Jameses. This is one of the toughest uh, storylines to watch on screen, I think, of season one. It's just
Yeah.
like, you're gonna throw your child out on the street? What the heck?
Yeah.
And yeah, just her dealing with all of that while also, like, as she's saying, is like coming out and being out. Um, she goes through that. She's also starting to get started on her music, which again was helped by Spencer, but and also by extension Layla, because it's Layla's connections that get both. Uh, you're laughing.
Oh no, I'm agreeing with you.
Like, is this a lie?
I was laughing at the Layla part, but we'll get into that.
It,
Okay.
so that's what I'm saying. Is this a lie? Is it not by extension, Layla?
I don't know. I would say in season one, I would not say that it was by Layla. I would say in season one, I'd actually say Patience
By
was the one who's.
extension. By
Um,
extension.
no. In season one,
Well,
no.
gonna
Season
I'm gonna
two,
call that.
yes.
Literally going to call that objectifiably false, because it's Layla's dad. The only reason Spencer met met her dad is because she introduced him,
Okay.
and she also was, helping along this lines of having this event, or JP was doing whatever JP was going to do. But I'm going to give that by extension, that phrasing, by extension, Layla. Um,
Okay.
but jump starting her music career as an MC for this event, that ended up going horribly. Um, so that all happens, but after Sean gets killed, she is on her revenge tip. On her revenge tip, she gets jumped into the gang. She's really like taking part in this gang, trying to get revenge on Tyrone for killing Sean. And at the end, we really see that, like, it's just like, because she basically follows through on the plan with Laura to lock Tyrone up. She is basically just like in hiding from Tyrone at the end of moving into season two, and then like being labeled a snitch at the beginning of season two because Tyrone is now locked up. And she does move back in with her parents, or rather, she moves back in with her mom
Mhm.
at the end of season one. So, what did you think about
Okay.
all of that? Her joining the gang and XYZ,
Um.
and bringing
I,
danger to her family, as you termed
oh.
her, the protector, bringing danger and to
Okay.
hit you to the Jameses.
What I will say is, I don't think when she got into the gang, it became bigger than getting revenge on Sean. It became about essentially protecting the neighborhood from Tyrone. So that's what she wanted to do. She and this is the only way she could think of doing it, was by getting into that gang and getting close to people in the gang, and then ultimately doesn't she say preach on Tyrone, and then kind of like chickens out and then goes for the lower route. But that's why I say she was just trying her best to protect the neighborhood as a whole.
That's
And
a
in terms
really
of,
interesting spin to put on it. Since I literally watched back
sorry.
these clips, I said that's a really interesting way to spin to put on it, because I literally
No,
watched
it's not
all of these
spin.
clips, and 9 times out of 10, the neighborhood as a whole was not mentioned. It was Sean. Tyrone killed Sean. So that's an interesting spin. I'm sure that was a part of it, but I do not think that was her aim. It was
No, but
definitely
she but she does say it multiple times in season one and season two that I'm trying to protect.
you're moving into season two, yeah, to protect. But season one, it was definitely about
No,
revenge.
in season one she says it as well that she's trying to
Sure,
protect the
one time
neighborhood
out of
from.
20 times she mentions it, we need to protect the neighborhood from Tyrone, but it was about. Let's not pretend that it wasn't about Sean.
Honestly, that's how I saw it when I was looking at it, and that's how I saw it.
This
It was
revisionist,
about
it's like
protecting.
this revisionist history that you're bringing on
That
this.
is not. That is literally what was on my screen when I was watching it. At first, I will admit that at first, I will admit that it was about revenge on Sean. I will admit that. But it did evolve to become about protecting
It
the
did evolve.
neighborhood.
I think it evolved in season 2 for sure. Season 2 and 3.
At the end of season one, okay, but okay, we're not doing this. But yes, that's why I was ultimately saying she was the protector. But then, and then, in terms of the music storyline, um, I think in season one, I'll give it solely like by extension, whatever. But in season one, I think it was just Patience and Spencer who were encouraging her.
I didn't say that
That
Layla encouraged her. I said that I said that she had the opportunity to get started on her music career because of Spencer, and by extension Layla, because Layla is the person that introduced Spencer to JP.
so you're just saying literally by Layla existing, she helped Tamia in the music storyline
I'm
because she
not saying
didn't
by
do
Layla. No, I'm not saying Layla by existing. I'm saying Layla by her connections. It was Layla's
well.
connection to
Okay, but okay,
JP as his daughter that even got Sean a job. Are we gonna say this is what I'm saying? It's not just by like existing as you put it. Are we gonna say if Layla wasn't there, would Coop have had the opportunity to MC this event or get Sean the job?
I would okay. The compromise I will come to it's
I'm not
is because
compromising. I've said my I'm not compromising on this one.
well, the compromise I'll come to is that Spencer was the one who was connected. It was ultimately Spencer's connection because if Spencer wasn't there, then whatever Layla's connection to JP
It was
becomes.
Spencer's connection and Layla vouched for him. So again, I'm not compromising on that point by extension. I don't know why you're trying to harp on this point about Layla. Clearly, you have some
Okay,
feelings on
I'll
her.
let it go. I'll let it go.
I'm just gonna say it's hilarious that just because I said the words by extension, you're like, no, Layla did nothing. What?
Okay,
Y'all
I'll let
see,
it go.
I'm just trying to point out what did Michael say in his live. I just think y'all really got it in for Layla. Like truly, now Layla had nothing to do, nothing to do
I'll put it
with
this way.
JP and Coop. That's hilarious.
It's the truth though, but I'll put it this
It's
way.
not
In
the
season
truth.
one, I was
Objectively, it's not the truth.
no, it's definitely the truth. But in season one, I had a strong dislike towards Layla, so maybe I'm still channeling that a little bit. But
I think so.
yeah, yeah. But I don't see what you
Here's the
see
thing. I'm not
'cause
saying. I'm literally saying it was her connection to Spencer, but it was Spencer's connection to Layla that got him that connection, which is hence the by extension. But anyway, this has been a very long aside on that.
okay,
Um, I'll also say one of the things I love about Coop, just her comedic genius. She
oh
is
yes,
comedic relief of the show. Love her interactions with Olivia. I think all of us cheered when Spencer and Olivia got together, not just because they were like officially together, but because we were just like, we can't wait for more Olivia and Coop interactions because they're
exactly.
both hilarious.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that Tamia was like the very first like Olivia on the show. Like we give her that.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Very true. Very true. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
It's like the
um,
only thing you've allowed that I said so far.
it's not the only. I've literally agreed with you on maybe half, like maybe 60% of your points.
Sure. Okay.
But anyway, um, got labeled a snitch because she helped lock up Tyrone, and we're moving into season 2 now. I had to pause it right there, but yeah, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next installment of our conversation on Coop.